Welcome to Alpha Coding Podcast, an all-access pass to medical coding and billing pro tips that help you start your week off smarter. And now, here is your host, Toni Elhoms.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alpha Coding Podcast series. I am your host, Toni Elhoms. Welcome to episode 8 of the podcast. Today is February 24th, and I am super excited to report the podcast has just passed 4,000 downloads after just 8 episodes on the air. This is absolutely incredible, and I owe it all to our loyal listeners. Thank you for your tremendous support, and we're going to continue showing up and providing you with valuable content every Monday on Alpha Monday. Our topic for today is going to cover my top pro tips for professional networking success. Before we dive into my pro tips, it's time for your Monday dose of positivity, the Mindset Monday tip, and it's brought to you by Project Resume. When is the last time you had your resume updated? Your resume is literally your entry ticket to that next great opportunity. Project Resume will design a customized ATS-friendly resume to demonstrate your unique skills and experience. And even better, it's written by coders for coders. Make that investment in yourself today. Visit projectresume.net and mention my code ALPHACODING for special pricing. Our Mindset Monday tip is all about living your life with purpose and giving back to others. I post on social media a lot about this because I really want to emphasize the gift of giving back and mentoring others because it is such a privilege to do so, and there are just so many rewards that come from that. So Denzel Washington, who is one of my favorite actors and motivational speakers, said, "You'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse." Now, I've been blessed to make hundreds of millions of dollars in my life. I can't take it with me, and neither can you. It's not about how much you have, but what you do with what you have. And those words really resonate with me. So as you go about your day, I challenge you to remember this tip, and that it doesn't matter how much money you have or how much money you make. You can't take it with you. So don't just aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference in someone else's life. Our topic for today is going to focus on my top pro tips for professional networking success. Have you ever been to a local chapter meeting or a professional networking event and had no idea what to do or what to say, and it just felt really awkward? And you're probably wondering, how do I make valuable connections with these people? Well, there are some tips that I'm going to give you that are going to help maximize each networking opportunity that you have. I know people say this a lot, but professional networking can be an invaluable resource to your professional career. Your network is literally your net worth, and the only way to build a great network is to participate in regular networking events. As an entrepreneur, part of my job every single day is to build relationships and network as part of growing my business. And so it's really important to get out and put yourself out there and use these tips to really maximize all of your networking opportunities. So this brings me to my pro tip number 1. Attend networking events that align with your professional career goals. So this definitely takes some forethought, but for coding and billing professionals, revenue cycle management professionals, this most definitely includes your local chapter events. So your local AAPC chapter, if you're not involved, you definitely want to check the calendar and get yourself involved as soon as possible. This is an invaluable resource, and we're going to talk more about this in a separate episode. But one of the many benefits of getting involved with your local chapter is that you can participate in monthly meetings. I know with our chapter, I am president of the Orlando, Florida AAPC chapter. We host monthly meetings, quarterly networking events called Coders and Coffee. And then we also do workshops and seminars, and then we do exams. And so these are all amazing opportunities to network and meet like-minded professionals. The thing about your local chapter is that it's a great resource for you to not only get free CEUs and meet some of your coworkers and colleagues, but you can also get advice on your resume resume or advice on who you should talk to get that next great position. So don't underestimate the power of getting involved with your local AAPC chapter. You'd be surprised how many times I've heard and I've seen in my career, people have done amazing things based on relationships they have built with their local AAPC chapter members. So your local chapter is just one example, but definitely do some research on the organizations that you think would benefit your professional career goals. So pro tip number 2, preparation is your best friend. So you want to prepare your elevator speech ahead of time. Oftentimes in networking events, people are required to stand up and say their name and what company they work with and a little bit about themselves. So you want to put some thought into this beforehand because oftentimes people get really nervous if they're put on the spot. And so preparation is really your best friend. Also, think about what you're going to say when someone asks you the inevitable networking questions. Where do you work? How long have you worked there? What are your career goals? What are you currently working on now? These are classic networking questions. So preparation is key. And if you tend to get nervous, go ahead and practice your elevator speech in front of a mirror and do it numerous times so that you can feel comfortable and you can see how you're actually expressing what you're saying, because your body language really tells a lot about you and your comfortability with networking. So preparation is key. My pro tip number 3, bring business cards and a name tag. So business cards, if you work for a company, you want to make sure that you bring your business cards. And then if you also have personal business cards, that's appropriate too. So bring your business cards, bring a lot of them, because you never know when somebody wants to pass on your information. And so oftentimes people will ask me for a stack of my cards because they work with a lot of doctors or personal injury attorneys that utilize our services. And then a name tag. So in conferences, they typically give you a name tag, but it's always nice to have your own. So I have several name tags because I'm a part of different organizations, but I always have my company name tag, which has my name on it. And when you meet lots of people at networking events, no one remembers anyone's name. It's really hard. And so that can make you almost unapproachable because someone doesn't want to feel bad that they forgot your name. And it's not to anyone's fault because it happens to all of us. And so a name tag can really make you that much more approachable. And then my pro tip number 4, so keep your conversations concise. You want to try to have meaningful conversations, but this is not the time to tell people your life story or all of the things that are going wrong in your life. It just isn't the appropriate time. And so you want to keep things professional and concise because you want to maximize this networking opportunity to talk to different individuals. And so it's really important that you keep your conversations concise and appropriate for the professional venue. My pro tip number 5, tell a story. So people tend to remember stories more than they do facts and figures. So think about something that really resonated with you and something that you feel really personifies you as a professional and can also make you relatable, and tell that story when you are at networking events. So never underestimate the power of telling your story. And this brings me to my pro tip number 6, be memorable. So this is not the time to have a conversation about the weather or something that is completely meaningless. You want to stand out. And if you look around the room, there's a lot of people that you're in competition with to stand out. And so it's really important that when you have a conversation with someone, you make the most of it and you are memorable. So pro tip number 7, positioning is everything. So in a networking setting, you want to position yourself as a resource to others. So one of my tricks is to take take out my phone when I'm meeting with someone that I can possibly help or do business with and immediately go through my contact list to see who I can put this person in contact with to add value to their network and to help them. And so this is a really powerful strategy because it shows the other person that you have initiative and you're interested in building a mutually beneficial relationship. And that right there is networking gold. So position yourself as a resource to help others. Listen for cues as to their current challenges and their pain points, and think about how you can help solve their challenges. And of course, it goes without saying that you should get the permission of the person you're going to put them in contact with first. So if you're not able to give this person you're networking with an immediate resource, that's perfectly fine. Just let them know, I'm going to reach out to my contact and get their permission before I connect you to. And this brings me to my pro tip number 8. Social media is like a billboard. Don't underestimate its power. Oftentimes, it takes people 7 to 12 touch points before you go from invisible to visible. So before that, you're basically invisible to a person. And so once you get into that visibility range, then you can start working on building the relationship and building credibility and trust. Social media can help accelerate your touch points because every single person that I see when I walk around in a public area that's not directly talking to someone is scrolling through their social media feed. So don't underestimate the power of social media, especially LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a professional networking site. And if you're not on LinkedIn, then you are missing out. I'm definitely going to be doing a separate episode on the power of LinkedIn and social media and what it can do for you and your career. But social media is a way to really connect with people on a different level, and they can learn things about you that they're not going to be able to learn in that face-to-face networking opportunity. So don't underestimate its power. Social media is literally a billboard, and you can get so much out of it if you put the time into it. The other awesome thing about social media and how it has evolved so much. So LinkedIn actually has a feature that when you are attending a conference or a networking event, you can turn on a location setting that will allow you to connect immediately with people that are close by in your range. So that's something that I always encourage people to take advantage of. Get connected on social media and you're going to see your networking opportunities elevated that much more. And this brings me to my pro tip number 9. The power is in the follow-up. So how many times have you attended networking events and then you go back and you have all of these business cards, but you do absolutely nothing with the business cards? Well, I want you to stop doing that because the person that you have connected with, the people that you have connected with, they're not going to remember you. So you want to really build that good habit of the next day following up with all of the contacts that you've met at the networking event and stating something that you remember from your conversation and setting up the next opportunity to connect with this person, because that's how you develop relationships. So the power is truly in the follow-up. And this brings me to my pro tip number 10. Keep in mind, practice makes perfect. No one starts out as a networking pro. You will get better with more practice, and the more networking events, the more opportunities to perfect your craft. So don't get discouraged and really put some thought into your speech and keeping your answers concise and making your story memorable. And all of the pro tips that we've discussed today, they're going to help you, and just keep practicing because the more you network, the better you'll get. So just to summarize my top 10 pro tips for professional networking success. Number 1, attend networking events that align with your professional career goals. Number 2, preparation is your best friend. Number 3, bring business cards and a name tag. Number 4, keep conversations concise. Number 5, tell a story. Number 6, be memorable. Number 7, positioning is everything. Number 8, social media is like a billboard. Number 9, the power is in the follow-up. Number 10, practice makes perfect. My goal is for these pro tips to set you up for networking pro success. So it's time for this week's coding pro tip, and it's brought to you by Contempo Coding, an on-demand educational resource provider created for coders by coders. Contempo Coding specializes in affordable coding certification prep courses to help you accelerate in your career. Right now, they're offering $100 off the Certified Risk Adjustment Coding Prep course when you order through our affiliate website. Visit our website, alphacodingexperts.com, and head over to the Deals and Discounts tab for a link to take advantage of this absolute steal of a deal. If you have a coding-related question and would like it to be featured in one of our coding pro tips, please reach out to me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. One of our listeners from Michigan asked, we're starting to discuss the 2021 code changes and have a question about the new guidelines regarding history and physical exam. One of our doctors attended a training recently that stated history and exam no longer have to be documented in 2021. Is this true? Well, I'm really glad you asked this question because this is a common misconception. So history and exams still need to be documented in the exact same way that they've been documented all this time. It needs to be patient specific and medically necessary. The only difference in 2021 is that history and exam are not used in the criteria of the code selection. So they are still vitally important as far as painting a clear picture of what is going on with the patient, but they don't influence the code selection. So that's the really important distinction. Your providers absolutely still need to document history and exam. And we're going to be talking a lot more about the 2021 E&M coding changes. We're also going to be doing a mini series, a course on it. So definitely stay tuned for more information and resources. Please subscribe to our channel, rate us, like us, drop a comment below, and submit a review on iTunes. The more reviews and comments we get, the more people we can reach and ultimately help. So we really appreciate your support. This concludes today's episode. I hope that my pro tips will be useful to you as you put them into action at your next professional networking event. Until next week, thank you for listening to Alpha Coding Podcast. We'll see you next Monday.
For more information about medical coding and billing pro tips, including how to hire Alpha coding experts, follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or visit our website at www.alphacodingexperts.com.